Over the years, the internet has seen its fair share of creepy footage. But some clips still stand out. From disturbing CCTV captures to downright chilling moments. These terrifying clips shocked everyone. This video keeps showing up on a single dark web account, posted again and again with no name, no title, and no explanation. The footage always shows the same person or creature wearing some sort of mask. He stares at the camera in silence, then does something strange and cuts the feed right before things get clear. Viewers believe it's not just for shock value. They say it's meant to pull people in, make them used to the fear, and slowly it does. Taken over. This woman's behavior had changed so much that her family feared for their safety. She had become aggressive, completely unrecognizable, and unable to speak clearly. They wrapped her tightly in cloth, trying to keep her from hurting anyone. A religious scholar was called to help, hoping it was something spiritual, but her condition was far worse than expected. She didn't know her own name and couldn't remember anything about her life. Even after calming her down, no one could figure out what had caused it. Scary encounter. While checking out an old abandoned house, a man walked into a room and froze. Standing there was a woman with no clear face.
Salam.
Her skin was red, and her hair was hanging low. She didn't speak anything, and wasn't moving that much either, which is why the cameraman could not move, because he was so shocked by all of it. Then, quietly, he began reciting verses which made this mysterious figure disappear. Strange woman. In Brazil, a woman shared footage of something that had been bothering her for weeks. Every night, she saw the same figure of a woman standing on a cliff, facing the ocean, and not moving. Curious and worried, she finally decided to approach. She called out gently, trying to see if the woman needed help, but without saying anything, the figure suddenly rushed toward her, arms reaching out. Shocked and scared, she ran back without looking behind. After that, she never went near that place again. McDonald's ruined. This boy was sitting beside the Ronald McDonald statue, just taking photos like everyone else. Everything seemed normal until the statue suddenly moved. Its head turned slightly, just enough to look straight at him. That one moment was all it took. He stood up immediately and ran off without saying a word. Ever since then, he's been scared to go back near that place. Unwanted guest.
Get over here, Dad. Grab her. Grab her. You are not strong. No, you are not stronger than Christ.
This woman's condition kept getting worse until it was clear she wasn't acting like herself anymore. She had to be restrained while a priest was brought in from the local church. Whatever had taken over her wasn't willing to leave quietly. As the priest continued his prayers, she grew angrier and began shouting in a voice no one recognized. The words made no sense, but the feeling was enough to shake everyone in the room. Some say she recovered, others say the story never really finished. Funeral wake-up. At a funeral home in Brazil, a worker was finishing his usual tasks when something horrifying happened. The body on the table, completely still just moments before, suddenly moved. A cold hand reached out and touched him. The worker froze, then bolted out of the room, struggling to breathe. Some say it was just a natural twitch, something that can happen after passing. But in that silent, empty space, it felt like something else. Something that should have stayed still, but didn't. Window creeper. Late at night, a group of kids was just playing games like usual when something unexpected happened. At the window, a strange old woman suddenly appeared. She stood completely still, staring at them with a blank smile that didn't feel normal. Her face looked distorted, almost like she wasn't fully human. None of them had seen her before, and her presence felt wrong in every way. They ran out of the room without looking back. Since then, they've never played near that window again. Dragged alone. Late at night, a woman was working alone in her office when things took a disturbing turn. Papers suddenly flew off the desk behind her, even though no one else was around. She turned, startled and unsure what caused it. But before she could move, something invisible grabbed her and dragged her across the floor. She fought back, screaming and kicking, but there was no one in sight. The entire moment was caught on security cameras. Whatever pulled her wasn't something anyone could see. Crawling figure. This footage from a home security camera was shared on Reddit, and it left people unsettled. A strange, child-sized figure moves between rooms, with a hazy body that almost floats. Near the bottom, there's a flicker like it's trying to walk, but not quite touching the ground. Some people blamed a glitch, but the shape was too clear and detailed. Others believe it might be the spirit of a child, still wandering. Whatever it is, the way it moved was quiet, slow, and deeply unnatural. Silent watcher. During a birthday party, the family was busy laughing, playing, and breaking open a piñata. No one noticed what was behind them on the balcony. A pale figure stood completely still, watching the group from a distance. It didn't speak or move. It just stared with a blank face. When people reviewed the footage later, no one could identify who it was. It didn't look like any neighbor. And it didn't look human either. That one silent moment left a dark feeling over the entire celebration. Not her husband. After a strange night, a woman decided to check the home camera footage to figure out why her husband had been making strange sounds in his sleep. What she saw left her shaken. His skin looked pale, lips dark, and his eyes completely black. It didn't even look like him anymore. She doesn't know what happened or how to help him. Spirit in the crowd. During a church service, while everyone's focus was on prayer, a camera quietly captured something no one in the room noticed. Among the crowd was the figure of a nun. When church officials reviewed the footage later, they confirmed that the figure matched the description of a nun who lost her life there years ago. Satanic warning. This boy had taken part in satanic rituals before, but something about this night was different. He lit candles and set up the room, expecting a response. What he got was far worse. The flames shifted on their own. Lights flickered, turning on and off. Items moved without being touched. He stood frozen, unsure of what he had started. Then everything went completely dark. When the lights came back on, the room was in chaos. The furniture was flipped, candles were melted into the floor. Looking at all of this, do you think something powerful answered him? Moving statue. A group had gathered for prayer, all focused and calm. One man was holding a statue when something unexpected happened. It moved. It was visible enough to give everyone there a fright, which made them stop praying. Some believed it was a sign, a moment of spiritual power. Others weren't sure. No one could explain it clearly. Scary TikTok. Da and her friends were just snapping fun pictures for TikTok, smiling and posing like usual. But when they checked the photos, they spotted her, a girl that was pale, with long black hair, peeking through a door in the background. She hadn't been there before. Then she appeared again, in another photo, watching from a different corner. No one in the group knew her. No one remembered seeing her, and her expression, it wasn't human. That day was supposed to be fun, but the photos said otherwise. Disturbed sleep. This man was sleeping alone when he suddenly woke up in panic. He said he felt a presence right beside him, even though no one was there. Before he could get up, his legs started lifting off the bed, like something invisible was trying to drag him away. He fought back and managed to move, breaking whatever hold it had. Crossroad demons. How much are you willing to sacrifice for your loved one? Because it might not be what this woman supposedly did. People saw her at the hospital, crying by her husband's bed, desperate to help him. But instead of waiting on doctors, she went to a corner and started reciting a strange prayer. Witnesses say it wasn't any normal prayer. Her voice changed, and she started shouting strange words no one understood. Moments later, her husband's condition got better. Did she make a deal with the devil? Pantry shadow. In this unsettling clip, parents found their son crouched in the pantry, but he was shaking and was quiet. But he wasn't alone. A camera had been recording the whole time, and in the footage, there was a hand. Thin, pale, and not fully human, reaching for him. As soon as the parents arrived, the hand pulled back and vanished without a sound. No one knows what it was or how it got in. All they know is that it hasn't been seen since. Dark web video. A group of friends were exploring the dark web out of curiosity when they found a strange video that immediately stood out. It showed a girl sleeping alone in her room. At first, everything looked normal, but then a hooded man quietly entered through the window. He didn't say anything. He just slowly walked around her room, watching her sleep. Then he stepped closer to the camera, leaned in, and showed only half his face with a chilling smile. The video cut off right after. Desert encounter. Arab YouTuber Abdullah was exploring the desert at night, headed toward an abandoned fortress known for dark legends. With just a flashlight and his camera, he moved through the silence. But only minutes in, a shadowy figure appeared at the entrance, clear in frame, but completely still. Abdullah called out, waiting for any response.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. من أنت؟
There was none. He walked closer step by step, but by the time he reached the spot, the figure was gone. Some viewers blamed the wind. Others saw something far darker, believing Abdullah had crossed paths with a jinn. Cat's intuition. She was filming a quick TikTok, just talking about how her cat always freaked out when she sat by the mirror. But what looked like a lighthearted clip turned into something much more disturbing. One follower noticed it first. There was a figure standing just behind her, barely visible. A shadow, tall and still, watching. She swore she was alone the entire time. But now, people think her cat wasn't reacting to her at all. It was trying to warn her of something beforehand. Loud shriek. During a regular Catholic Mass, a priest stood up to begin his homily, but something strange happened the second he opened his mouth. A loud, unnatural shriek echoed through the church. Not once, but twice, forcing him to stop mid-sentence. The sound didn't come from any person in the crowd.
El Señor esté con ustedes.
And no one could explain where it came from. But it was terrifying enough to make an entire church stop praying. Dragged outside. A woman was already on edge after her home alarm randomly went off without cause. But before she could even check the house, something grabbed the back of her shirt and pulled. There wasn't anyone behind her. The force was strong enough to send her running out the door. She stayed outside for hours, and even after calming down, she couldn't explain what had touched her or how it pulled her with that kind of strength. Elevator disappearance. Few years ago, at a hotel in Colorado, security cameras caught something that no one has been able to explain. A woman walked into the elevator alone but seemed uneasy. She stepped out, and then something happened to her. But this is the creepiest part. Within seconds, some unseen entity took her away, back inside the elevator. Allegedly, that was the last time anyone saw her. But it's been years since she disappeared. No new information has been released. Doll gets possessed. A girl saw the human-sized toy called Grandpa going viral on TikTok, so she ordered one for herself. But the moment it arrived, strange things started happening. She began noticing dark shapes moving around it, and once, while recording, she caught one of its hands shifting on its own. She never confirmed if she got rid of it, but people who saw what it did believe she should have never brought it home in the first place. Unexplained incident. A woman by the name Jeanette was recording a lighthearted video with her cat, just like she always did. But this time, something had gone wrong. An intruder was seen near her door. But even that wasn't the scariest part. As she filmed, her bed began to shift on its own. Deep marks forming one by one, like a heavy person was sitting down. She grabbed her cat and hid. The police later caught the man outside, but what had moved in the room that night still has no answer. Mysterious ring capture. A few days before Halloween, a woman received a motion alert on her doorbell camera. When she checked the footage, she saw a man's face pressed close to the lens. His eyes were fully dark, with no visible white at all. He didn't say anything. He just stood there for a moment, then calmly walked away. Later, it was confirmed that he had a mental health condition, but the way he stared without blinking was something that was really unsettling. Giveaway gone wrong. In 2023, Twitch streamer Kai Cenat announced a PS5 giveaway in Union Square, New York. He expected a crowd, but not thousands. Within minutes, things went out of control. The NYPD had to send over 1,000 officers to calm things down, but their presence only made the crowd more aggressive. People started throwing objects, climbing cars, and even setting off fire extinguishers. In the end, 65 people were arrested, and Kai was taken into custody. By May 2024, he was fined $55,000 and issued a public apology for the incident. Kitchen nightmares. One night, a man started recording after hearing strange sounds in his house. While checking the kitchen, the light suddenly went off, then flickered back on. In that brief moment, a figure appeared. A woman in what looked like an old dress, just standing there. But the worst part came later. Through a small window, the camera caught something even more disturbing. A pale face staring straight at him. Some of his followers believe it's one of two dark entities said to haunt his home and business. Cemetery watcher. In London, a man got an alert from his doorbell camera late at night. When he played the footage, it showed a shadowy figure peeking around the side of his house, slowly moving past a neighbor's car, then vanishing into the dark. His house sits directly across from a very old cemetery, which made the sight even harder to ignore. The figure moved like a person, but something about it felt off, too fast, too quiet, and almost like it didn't belong in this world. Mafia prank. While live streaming from a restaurant in Los Angeles, Ice Poseidon was interrupted by a man who claimed to be the owner and said he was part of the local mafia.
I'm getting about 30 calls about you on my phone, so you better leave here right now before there's trouble with yourself.
He demanded that Ice leave immediately, warning that things could get serious. The stream turned tense as viewers begged him to go, and he eventually did. But later, after going back to find out more, he learned that the man was just a delivery guy pretending to be someone he wasn't. There was no mafia, just someone trying to scare him for attention. Haunted new home. After Julia's family moved into their new house, they started noticing strange things at night. The alarms would go off on their own, and footsteps echoed through empty rooms. Trying to understand what was going on, they set up cameras. What they saw left them unsettled. A clear figure, almost see-through, was seen climbing the stairs even though no one else was home. It moved slowly, quietly, like it had always been there. Whatever it was, it made them feel like the house wasn't fully theirs. Something else was still holding on. Ghost neighbor. Late one night, a gym security guard was watching the cameras when he noticed something strange. One of the trainers was deep in conversation with someone, but no one else was there. The guard walked over and asked who he was talking to. The trainer casually said it was the man from the apartment next door. The guard paused, then quietly told him that man had passed away the week before. He even showed him the footage, and it was clear there was no one around. Midnight visitor. This man set up a camera to figure out why his father kept talking to someone who wasn't there. What the footage showed left the whole family shaken. His father sat up in bed, speaking in a low, strange voice to something completely invisible. His face looked blank. His voice didn't sound like his own, and he didn't blink. The way his body moved felt unnatural, almost like he wasn't in control. Some say it was a spirit. Others say possession. But one thing is certain, that night changed everything for them. Graveyard terror. Late one night, a man entered a cemetery alone, hoping to record something unusual. At first, it was quiet, but as he rested near a tombstone, something dropped onto his back. It wasn't a bird or animal, it looked like a massive, dark, spider-like figure. He panicked and ran, trying to shake it off. The footage shocked everyone who saw it. Some claim it was edited, but many believe it was real. Whatever it was, that night in the graveyard became something he'll never forget. Hidden frame. Joyce Chu became an internet sensation in 2015 with her sweet voice and bright music videos. But one detail in her most famous song still haunts sharp-eyed viewers. At exactly 1 minute and 42 seconds, a chilling moment plays in the background. What appears to be a self-inflicted end, caught mid-scene. It happened near the Red Theater in Taipei, a place already tied to strange history. Officials gave no answers, no public statement. The footage remains untouched in the video, just hidden in plain sight. Syrian shock. In a quiet town in Syria, a mother filmed her son taking his very first steps. The room was peaceful until something moved. Behind the baby, a dark, smoky figure passed by the wall. Its shape wasn't human, and the way it floated didn't seem real. The figure faded just as quickly as it appeared. The mother paused the video, rewinding it over and over, but still couldn't explain what she saw. Whether it was a jinn or something else, one thing was certain: she wasn't alone in that room. Chained truth. This clip, allegedly leaked from one of the darkest corners of the web, has shaken even seasoned viewers. It starts with a man placing a camera on the ground and setting down a small tin box. He walks off without a word. Then a woman runs into frame. Fast, desperate. She reaches for the tin, but something yanks her back. A metal chain, hidden from view, snaps tight. The footage ends right there. There's no context, no faces, no answers. Just one thing's clear: she wasn't free. Unwelcome guest.
يا جماعة ما تلاحظون ان هذه كلها تتحرك، كل هذه كلها بسم الله لا اله الا الله.
As soon as he stepped into his family's long-abandoned home, the silence didn't feel right. A ceiling fan began to sway without wind, and doors opened and closed like something unseen was walking through. At first, he stood still, hoping it would stop, but the noise only grew louder.
لا إله إلا الله.
Like the house was angry. The door slammed one final time, and that was it. He bolted. The building may have been empty, but something inside didn't want him there.
لا 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 لا. والله العظيم ما نقادر من الريحة يا جماعة.
White figure. These women were walking through the forest at night when something strange stopped them. A pale woman in a long white dress stood ahead, staring without blinking. Her face looked twisted, unnatural, almost like something out of a nightmare. She didn't speak. She just started walking toward them. One of the women raised a stick, while the other tried yelling, but the figure didn't react. It kept coming. They backed away slowly, unsure if they were in danger. Whether it was real or not, the footage is convincing that this figure wasn't human, at least. Subscribers pick. In April 2016, Missy Bevers was found deceased inside a church in Midlothian, Texas, just minutes before she was supposed to lead an early morning fitness class. When police reviewed the security footage, what they found was disturbing. A person dressed in full tactical gear, looking like a police officer, was calmly roaming the empty halls with a hammer in hand and walking strangely. She was 45 years of age, and it was her students who discovered her body inside Creekside Church of Christ in Ellis County, despite receiving over 3,000 tips from locals and building a long list of suspects. The identity of the person in the footage is still unknown, and that haunting video remains a mystery to this day. arrow gone wrong. During a live quarterfinal performance on America's Got Talent, a stunt couple prepared for their most dangerous trick yet. Ryan held a metal tube in his throat, while Amberlynn stood ready to shoot a flaming arrow from a crossbow. The goal was to hit the tube and trigger fireworks. But as she fired, the arrow's wooden piece broke mid-air. It missed the tube and went straight for Ryan's neck. He stumbled back. The medical personnel were right there and they rushed to help. The arrow had missed major arteries, but the act was over.
Go.
Yes.
No, I'm being serious.
This is live television. Anything can happen, but we want you to know he did not get punctured.